The boy, with his stunning beauty, secured a place by the king's side. He followed his mother's arrangements, gradually climbing to his current position. The king's chief male lover sensed danger approaching. He would not allow his position to be threatened in the slightest. As a result, George was constantly ostracized within the palace. He was either tasked with cleaning the latrines or scrubbing the toilets. Even worse, a group of people forcefully pinned him down and removed the hair from his body. Mary learned that her son was not living well. With heavy makeup and an extravagant appearance, she decided to visit the palace to investigate. When she entered, she immediately attracted the attention of everyone in the room due to her outdated style and exaggerated makeup. Mary didn't mind this and soon found her son, George, sitting in a corner of the hall. George confided in his mother, telling her how badly things had been going for him. Mary knew her son was going through tough times, but she didn't expect it to be this bad. Before long, the king and his male lover, Samo, entered the room. Even though the queen was right there, Samo and the king began to playfully flirt in front of everyone. To add insult to injury, Samo's pregnant wife joined in. The queen gave a disgusted glance, as if the king were nothing more than a plaything in their hands. The royal palace hall seemed more like a private garden for Samo and his wife. Mary observed her son's rivals, realizing that this drama was far from over. The king, mimicking a newborn, emerged from under Samo's wife's skirt, only then noticing Mary standing behind him. He seemed to have forgotten George's name due to not seeing him for a long time. Mary was there to demand justice for her son, who had been treated unfairly. At this point, Samo's wife remarked that the king didn't have time to deal with such trivial matters. Meanwhile, an adversary mocked Mary for looking like a clown. Mary was furious. She wanted to rush forward and tear that person's mouth apart. Samo quickly intervened, stopping her. The king spoke up, asking Mary to stop making a scene and added that her outfit was indeed out of touch with fashion. Mary, feeling humiliated, left in a huff. Later, in private, she was reprimanded by the queen. Previously, Mary had promised that George would replace Samo, but now not only had she failed to fulfill that promise, but Samo had also managed to elevate his wife's status. The queen issued an ultimatum, and Mary knew that time was running out for her. As Mary was leaving the palace, a man came to see her off. He said a few strange things, which left her puzzled. That evening, the man found Mary at her residence. It turned out that he was Samo's wife's first husband. To divorce him, the couple had maliciously fabricated lies to tarnish his reputation. They spread rumors in the streets and alleys about his body being incomplete. Eventually, Samo married his wife. The man, who had a small mustache, told her that they had a common enemy and that he held some incriminating evidence against Samo and his wife. George, having fallen out of favor, went to a brothel to drown his sorrows. He mistakenly took a man in front of him for the king. The next day, the man with the small mustache arranged to meet Mary at the church. He told Mary that to rise in status, Samo and his wife had placed a curse on several officials, ultimately causing the deaths of several individuals. The man with the mustache assured Mary that the situation was entirely true. The remaining clues were for Mary to investigate on her own. Using her network of connections, Mary discovered the bribed guards, the apothecary who supplied the poison, and the maid who had cast the curse. After gathering the evidence, Mary immediately handed it over to the judge, requesting that the case be handled in secret. The judge, who knew Mary, was eager to help her as he had long hoped to marry his daughter to Mary's eldest son. George's health seemed to be deteriorating. He took the initiative to approach Samo and show his vulnerability. He expressed his decision to withdraw from this game of love, hoping that Samo could spend more time with the king in the days to come. It was unclear when the king had entered, but Samo told George to speak with the king himself. Weak and frail, George barely got a few words out before he fainted. Judging from his symptoms, it appeared he had contracted a filthy disease. Samo's wife, ever eager to stir the pot. The king, naturally, was disgusted with George, saying, "How can you serve me in such a condition?" The king then ordered the guards to take George out of the palace and leave him to his fate. George was sent back home. Mary was furious when she saw her son in such a state of illness. She had already gathered the leverage to turn the situation around, but she couldn't believe how little George cared for his own well-being. What would they do next, mother and son?